are okay.
All right, our final interview on the State Line Sports Hour of the Pigskin Preview. And right now we're going to remain in the Big Northern West. And we're going to Rockford Lutheran. And one of our fun coaches to talk to, we always enjoy it, Bruce Bazsali. And, Coach, thanks for getting up early this morning and talking to us about some Lutheran Crusader football.
Well, I'm used to getting up early, so that's not a problem. We actually got our scrimmage on after this. We don't do it on Friday night. We do it Saturday morning. We make it just more like a practice. We don't make a big game out of it. So we go Saturday morning and make sure that way we got reps.
Obviously going into the season, I think the big thing everybody's looking at is James Robinson. He's got a chance to break the state rushing record and a few other records along the way. How do you balance? Because obviously there's been some games in the past where he's had to sit at halftime because you guys have been up so much and that. How do you balance trying to help him maybe make that individual push without, depending what kind of games you're in, without necessarily, trying to run things up and that kind of thing?
We're just going to run it up this year. That's bottom line. No, I'm just kidding. Last year, I felt like I actually felt bad because I really kind of wanted to leave him in so he wouldn't have so much pressure on him this year. But, I just couldn't. And this year, though, I'm going to leave him in. I wanted to get that record. And I'm not going to try and be a bad sport or anything like that, but I am going to try. Everybody's going to try and stop him. So we're going to do everything we can to try and get him to get it, because I know people are going to be really pointing the fun. There's been so much publicity about it, and I think people gear up to get him, and so just have to a lot of times see how the games go. But it's going to be interesting because we always have spread the ball around pretty much. If you look at his stats and stuff, a lot of it isn't dependent on a lot of carries. It's big games he gets and things like that. So. It's just hard to say how it'll go. I don't want to be a jerk, but I also don't want to keep him from getting a record. If there's chances where he can pad a little bit, we might do it. I don't know. Just got to see how that plays out.
And you guys are going to have it kind of on two fronts. You guys had a great season last year, so definitely just, as the returning conference champ and everything, you kind of got that X on your back, and then, like you said, teams aren't going to want to be the team that he breaks the record on. How do you, get your guys prepared knowing that, every week people are going to be gunning for you guys?
Well, actually, we know that we know that we've talked about that really for the last few years. We know that people have thought, who are these guys now? What do they think they're doing? And our kids, I think, like that challenge. They relish in that a little bit. They're finding out there, they realize that it's a lot harder playing from the top than it is coming from the bottom. That's why I think they've got a lot more respect for the Stillmans and the Byrons and the Oregons and, the Bagels, these teams that have been up there before, because now they know what it's like, to be at the top before they didn't. And, it's a lot tougher up there having that mark on your back. And so they look at it as a challenge, and hopefully we'll be up to it.
You lost some quality kids last year. I hate to remind you of this, but like a Nate Wheating, you don't get tight ends like that very often down in the middle classes like that. But, you lost a lot of other quality kids, so you kind of have to fill those gaps before some of the stuff you consider as you start the season, didn't you?
Yeah, but I think we're really, really solid. Overall, I think we've got maybe overall as a first unit, maybe as strong or a little stronger team than we had last year. A lot of kids hit the weight room, really stepped it up. We had some kids who backed out, really because of the challenge that you were talking about. I think, they thought, they'd get to coast a little bit. It would be a little easier because I said, no, we're going to work harder. And so we had some kids. So our depth is not as good as what we had last year, but our overall starting lineup, I think, could be stronger. We have, our kids got a lot bigger and a lot stronger than what they were last year. Marcus Hayes is now 185, 190 pounds.
Oh.
And John Anderson was just a little outside linebacker last year at around 160, 165. Is like 195 right now, 200. Logan Davis is like 210. Matt Anderson is over 200. We just got bigger. James is bigger. We're just bigger all the way around. So that's really gonna help us a little bit. And we didn't lose speed. That's the nice part. Our kids really ran well.
What about the quarterback position? Obviously, somebody has to get James the ball, and they have to also be a threat, so teams can't just key on him. What do you got going at the quarterback position?
Well, right now it's Peyton Womack. He's a junior. He got a lot of mop-up action last year, and even in the playoffs got to play. He had, I think, a couple of touchdown passes in the playoff games, and he's only about 5'9", but he is very, very fast. He throws the ball very well. We had a very good summer with him, as good a summer in 7-on-7 as we've ever had. We did real well at Notre Dame and at a lot of tournaments. We only lost a few games, again, not very many. And Nick Brigham, who we thought would probably be the starting quarterback last year, I know if you remember, broke his leg in the Rock Falls game and couldn't play in the playoffs. He was number 12. He was our safety. He's like 6'2", 195, and the leg got infected, and he wasn't able to participate in the winter basketball. He was on the bench and tried to, but couldn't play. And then it got infected, so they had to do another surgery on it, take the rod out of the bone, and put in another rod that emitted antibiotics so that he could kill the infection. And they did that, and then they had to have another surgery, take that out, and then put another rod back in. And but he's doing really well. But we didn't think we'd have him back for the season, what they told us to begin with. And he's already done with the therapist, all this kind of stuff. He's backpedaling. He said it feels just as good as when he was 100% last year. He's been throwing the ball, never got off the bike. He's been keeping in shape. He's been throwing, running slightly, but not fully yet. And on the 26th, we find out from the doctors up in Madison when he'll be back, because it looks like he will be back sometime during the season. That will help us with our depth problem and help us a lot with our secondary and also as quarterback, because he probably would have been the starter had he not been hurt. So we'll have two really good quarterbacks, by the time we finish the season. So I'm excited about that. That'll help us in the depth down the road.
I know that I think you lost the all-conference place kicker and punter, too, didn't you? So you have to work on that special teams a little bit this year, Coach?
I'll tell you, we're going to surprise a lot of people. We'll be really strong. Special teams, we're going to be even stronger. I really like the way these kids kick. They're doing a great job. The Anderson brothers, Matt Anderson, who's an all-conference tackle and middle linebacker last year, is our punter, and he came in as a quarterback, so he could actually throw back there. Number 54 back there, I'm giving all the secrets away, but they'll see that and think, okay. But he's an athlete, and
yes, he is.
All our ex-quarterbacks become offensive linemen at our school, so they strive hard to be a quarterback. But he kicks his brothers to kick off an extra point kicker, John, the outside backer, and he can really boom him. He's very consistent. I'm very confident in our special teams this year, so I don't think we skip a beat.
You talked about the added size. How's that going to help on the defensive side of the ball?
Real good. We lost a couple of defensive linemen. We got 4 starting linebackers back, or really 3.5, because one played quite a bit but didn't start. But we only got 4 linebackers because they played quite a bit. So the 2 inside backers are back, and Mike Malone, our defensive coach, been coaching almost as long as I have. He said it's the best combination of linebackers that he's ever had. And he's had individuals that are better, but he's never had 2 that are that good. And our outside guys are just really, really solid, really good size, great speed. Our inside guys, we got Nick Gully, another all-conference kid returning on the inside. We actually have a big kid for once on the line. He's about 285, and he moves pretty good. He's only a sophomore, Josh Cornatz, and he's pretty tough to move. But we roll those kids in and out and move them around. We got a lot of speed in there, too. And we on defense like we did last year, we rotated kids a lot, and we're going to do that again. It's always predicated on moving and getting to the ball. I don't know if you remember last year, I thought we were great about getting people around that ball and not letting people get away. And I think we're going to have a very, very solid defense again this year.
Before we let you go, Coach, James Robinson has run back kickoffs and I think sometimes punts. Will he be doing any special teams work for you this year?
Actually, we're going to play James some at safety, and some on the special teams. We're going to really in and out, though, on defense at different times, but when he fills, well, he's like a linebacker filling. He's something else, and he wants to play, and and he's probably in the best shape he's ever been in. He's doing something this year I wanted him to do for all 4 years, as good as he is. You know, these kids, they when we do drills and we do stuff, you know, I like him to go 10, 15 yards downfield. He's been running downfield 30, 40 yards every time he carries the ball to get himself in better shape this year. Because he knew, we talked about it, that his stamina wasn't really good. And he's a different kid this year. If people saw him, I mean, he's something. He really looks good.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for taking time out today. Good luck. We'll keep an eye on James Robinson and the Crusaders this year, and good luck against Quincy Notre Dame.
We got one thing.
Sure.
Our ball boy's really good, too. You know, he's just a little kid. He's got a state record. He's gone for 128 consecutive times getting the ball out correctly. And, you know, we're going for that record.
There you go.
Thanks so much, Coach. I'll keep an eye on him, okay?
All right.
That's why we like Coach Bruce Bazsali.
Yeah.
They're ball boys going for a state record.
He's a blast, man. I love it. Hey.